All right, here we go. And let me just say, hey, I'm sorry that it's so late. But let me just say that this story that I'm sharing with you today has really touched my heart. It's impacted my life tremendously. And let me just say one thing too. I'm not a pastor, right? I'm not somebody who's paid to come and love on you, right? All I am is just somebody that wants to love on you, right? I'm here because I'm just a human being that wants to do life with you, because I want you to understand something, is that life is made up of small decisions. And sometimes these decisions add up, and then we find ourselves in a place like, how did I get here? And it's because we're making these small decisions that sometimes are just undetectable, that they're going unnoticed. And so these decisions that we make in life are so important. And so let me tell you a story today. It's titled Saltwater. So once there was an apprentice, he was training to be a ninja, and things just weren't going right in his life. There was a lot of pain and frustration, and that was leading to confusion. And so he was having a hard time just really understanding what life was about and moving forward. It just felt like that burden of life was just getting heavier and heavier and heavier, and he just didn't know how he was going to proceed, especially in his training. So he goes to his teacher or his sensei, and he says, Master. And he starts telling about all these problems that is happening in life, and he says, I just don't know how I can go on with the training. And the teacher says, come here, follow me. And so he takes him to this big, large body of water, and he says, my son, open up your heart. Let me teach you something. And so he gets a glass, and he goes and he scoops some water up, and he gets a handful of salt, and he puts it inside of it. And he says, here, taste that. And so the sensei drinks it, and he says, ooh, that tastes horrible. It's bitter. And he said, the pain of life is the same way. It can leave you bitter, rotten inside. You can start to ask so many questions like, why? And I don't want to move on. And I don't want to do that anymore. He goes, but let me show you something. And so he goes, he gets that same handful of salt, and he throws it into the ocean. And then he goes and gets a cup of that water. And he says, here, taste that. And he drinks it, and he goes, man, Sensei, that tastes great. And he said, the pain of life is just that way. Sometimes it can leave you bitter. Sometimes it can be great. And he said, how can pain be great? And he said, the lesson here is, what are you putting your pain in? If you bottle up your pain and you try to carry all the problems of the world in yourself, you will become bitter and you'll break down, lash out. But if you take your pain and you put it somewhere else, then you can receive all the pain in the world, and yet you can do it with a smile. Friends, that's a hard thing to think about, because where can we put our pain if we don't put it on ourselves? Well, Jesus said, cast your cares on me because I care for you. That's 1 Peter chapter 5. Look it up if you don't believe me. It's a promise that you can stand on, my friend. So just know that if life is weighing you down, you can cast your cares on him because he loves you. And so do I. My friends, if you got a prayer request, just put them in the comments. I and a bunch of people will just start praying for you. Not because we have to, but because we want to. And because I love you. My friends, you know it. It's just vital encouragement. It's just a small spark of light to brighten your day. I love y'all. Bye-bye.